Hey guys, Trev from the Struggling Artist Podcast, and I want to talk to you real quick about Struggling Artist Record Club. The Struggling Artist Record Club is a vinyl record subscription service where I hunt and curate the best punk and punk-adjacent music out there and mail their record to your door each and every month. Imagine finding your new favorite band from across the country without ever having to leave the house. It doesn't get much better than that. The excitement of discovering new music just got that much easier. As a member of the Struggling Artist Record Club, you are going to receive some of the best music you've ever heard from bands you may never even heard of. Whether you've been collecting records for years or just starting out, the Struggling Artist Record Club is designed specifically for you. And right now, all new members get a Struggling Artist Record Club exclusive along with the monthly selection. So head to StrugglingArtistRecordClub.com, pick a membership, and start building that collection today.
You're listening to the Struggling Artist Podcast.
People need to be entertained. They need the distraction.
With your host, Trev Allen.
I wish to God that somebody would do something to block out the voices in my head for 5 minutes.
Hello, everybody. Today, our guest is the band Gossip Color. I describe them as a dark wave post-punk goth band. There's a whole lot to unpack there, I know. They're a very original sounding band, and I was pumped to be able to talk to them. This was an awesome conversation. And stick around to the end of the episode to hear a song off of their album, Spinning Silk for Parasites. This is episode 312 of the Struggling Artist Podcast, Struggling with Gossip Collar. Upon finding Gossip Collar, I have been listening nonstop. I got the first thing I got was the EP, the little EP you guys put out. And then I was supposed to be at one of the shows you guys were at, and I couldn't get there. And that's such an adult thing too. I hate that, There's so many shows I want to go to that I end up having to work or something, So I'm always looking for different sounds. I still have that. That's something I've always had an affinity for. It's just finding sounds. I love to share music. I've shared your album with so many people. Hopefully some of them picked it up. Yeah, it's an awesome thing. So I don't know. I just get excited when I hear new sounds, and I haven't heard anything that sounds like you guys pretty much ever. I don't even know how to describe the sound. It's like a gothy, I don't know. I think I told somebody, I'm like, hey, if you like gothy, synthy, post-punk stuff, you might like this, and they loved it. So I don't know if that's exactly, I don't know if I nailed it there, or if getting into genres just
I appreciate it not being definable, because it's that's good. Why be definable? Right?
Yeah. So because there's bands like death rock bands out there, and Nox Novacula, they're really good, but you guys don't sound like them. You know what I mean? So you're doing your own thing, and I think that's what makes me love art and music and being creative the most.
We'd be psyched to play with them, though.
Oh yeah, that would be a killer show.
I know, that was kind of a dream.
That would definitely be. They come out here quite a bit, I guess, too, and I always miss them, of course, because being an adult sucks sometimes. But
yeah, I get it.
But so what? Tell me, before we get into everything that's Gossip Color, just kind of I know. I'm pretty sure all of you have been in some bands in the Boston area for over the years and stuff like that. So what? I guess, has any of your projects ever sounded like this from any of the stuff you guys did?
No. Like me, like me and Victoria were in a very, very punk band, though we didn't dress punk, so people didn't think we were punk. Punk band Showcase Showdown back in the 90s. That was like pogo punk. But I played guitar. She played bass, and then her and Megan were in a band called Secret Hearts, which was a very kind of
Girl Garage.
It was like Girl Garage. It was Girl Garage rock, and also then me and Victoria were in another band called Spitz, which was like I was singing, so totally different sound, which is more like punk rock and roll in a way, like not too rock and roll, but like more of that guitar stuff. And then me and Mark were in bands in high school, which we won't speak of, but and then he did a lot of other stuff like with other people that he can speak to. Yeah. Like more jazz sort of oriented
I did
stuff.
other like improvisational music. I play the bass. I play the double bass also. Did a lot of improvisational music.
But yeah, me and him would always play over the years, very informal, like stuff that never got out of the basement sort of stuff.
But it's intentionally different. You know what I mean? That's like kind of the point.
So you went for this sound, like this was like, we're going to nail this thing, or
yes.
Like, yeah. You absolutely do nail it.
Well, kind of.
No, yes, Tom.
But it also kind of evolved. Like it evolved, like in.
No, this was very intentional.
It evolved, I guess. Then.
Yeah, it evolved when Megan and I started playing again in the pandemic, and it was around Halloween, and we were listening to a lot of goth records, and we just decided, the two of us, that we were going to start writing music that we want to dance to. And we just kept playing and playing, and then finally Tom walked down to the basement and was like, you know what would sound good with that? And then that's how it happened. You know, so it's like, but it was intentional.
When did the EP drop?
2023. So then there was not much was happening at all in the pandemic, right? Like people weren't really doing anything. And our first show was in 2023, in June. But we were just like playing for a year or two. Honestly, Megan and I were playing for a year or two in the basement alone.
Just getting it down, right? Like just
like hanging out and playing these songs. And then Tom joined, and then Tom's idea was, because we were going to be a 3-piece, and then Tom's idea was like, these songs need a bass. So that's kind of how it all happened. We've only been playing with Mark since March of 23.
Were you writing the songs for Spinning Silk for Parasites like in 2020, or was it kind of once you guys got together?
Some of them, I mean, the EP, I would say those 4 songs were written in like 2021, maybe. Those songs, right? Maybe.
Yeah, 20. ish. They kind of, I think a lot of them like evolved.
They did evolve, yeah.
There is some that like a lot of bands have this. It's like you write a song, it goes nowhere. And then suddenly you're playing another song, and then suddenly you're like, wait, this sounds super familiar. We already wrote this. But just got tweaked somewhere that like either there's a new bass line or guitar line or vocal line. So yeah, we're very fortunate that me and Victoria live together. We're married, but like we have a basement. So we've been able to like let things brew sort of just like naturally, because the thing I in previous bands, what's super challenging is when you have a practice space, you're paying money, and you're like, crap, we're paying money to have amplifiers and storage. I need to start something, but we don't have that pressure. So it's nice to kind of, just like we like me and Mark were in a joke band for a little while during the pandemic as well, which went nowhere, which is probably good for both of our careers. But like just like messing around, like we have the ability to mess around, which I think, like going back to like early bands, that's how all the early bands I was in were like, we got to mess around and just like, and then you figure out where you're going. But I feel like when you have a practice space and all that stuff, it's like, man, we have to get going here. And I like not having that pressure.
Yeah, when I write, like if I feel like I'm forcing something, I got to stop. So having a practice space, I can see where, especially if you're like, everyone, if it's in your budget and like, but like you said, like it's just a storage space if you're not using it, right? So, yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. From the bands from before, when you start a new project, what is it like as far as like the identity of the band? Is it hard to, I guess, separate yourself from other projects when it's time for the new one? You know what I mean?
No. No, not like this. Those bands are pretty done. Showcase Showdown's been done like decades, right? Secret Hearts, there was a little more crossover with Secret Hearts, probably. But like, I try not to do the same chords. Like, it's just on purpose. Like, try to make everything just dark, you know?
Yeah.
And
it's also, we switched
and then
positions
Tom-
a little bit.
yeah,
so,
and then, like,
so,
Tom has some really cool pedals that help with all that synth sound. Like,
yeah,
honestly,
we
like, so
we
many
don't have
bands-
a synth player actually.
Yeah. That's from all from guitar.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well,
Just a
on the
couple.
record, we play synth, but like not live. Yeah.
Most of it's guitar pedals.
Some from the bass.
Yeah,
Yeah,
some of
so-
it is, yeah.
But the pedals kind of help the sound, and then I think it's just trying to make sure they all sound a little dark.
Yeah, but I do think there's a through line, like the good parts of all of those bands. There's like those previous bands were, because me and Victoria have been playing together a long time, and her and Megan have too.
Yeah.
Is that there's a dictatorship of the song as opposed to a dictatorship of the player. So they try to keep that. I don't know, just like whatever, like the the Ramones are like the Ramones are great, right? They're like, but the greatest Ramones songs, it's like, it's not flashy, right? It's like, so if you can put great frosting on a cake, it's awesome, but the cake has to be good. So like, kind of like, I think in all of the bands, I'm not saying everything we ever did was great at all, but I think in this, we try to say like, it's like the songs are the thing. So whether it's Victoria as the singer or going way back, we thought that's kind of the ruling principle, because if we wanted really talented players, none of us would be here. Like, that's not.
And
that's
I
not
also
the
think
point.
like the guy who recorded us, he's just like, what's the deal? And the truth is, we're a punk band. Like, we're a punk band. We're just a different style of punk band. And I think the common thread, like with all the bands, is like that's the sensibility that we're coming from it to it with. And so even though it's like different styles, we still have that like in us. That's in our blood.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, well, yeah, because I mean, you get, it's yeah, the it's there in, yeah, it's in us, or who are you? You know what I mean? Like, so if someone like, there's people who go out and they end up making like country records after, but you can still hear like they're still who they are, right? They're not all of a sudden singing about like, like they don't go from like, anti-establishment to like, being like singing about like I don't know, whatever pop country stuff sounds like. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. If you watch the news lately, some of them do. It's getting weird lately.
it is getting weird. It is getting weird. Yeah. I've been trying to avoid the news for the last couple weeks, but yeah. Like, you stay true to who you are. Like, just because your sound changes doesn't mean you, like, what you were saying, like, you're not going to change.
Yeah, we try to bring that energy to like whatever it is,
The album, like, it's got that energy. It's right there. I have to, like, I'm gonna be flat out honest with you. Like, I listen to this thing once a day, man. So like, it's like, yeah, it's a very good album. It's in my top 5 for this year. And like, I didn't really know much about you all until until I like started asking people a little bit more, you know what I mean? Cause like, I was like, where did this come? Like, the EP came out. I love the EP. Like I said, I've discovered that you were supposed you guys played a show. I know C.E. Skidmore and the Damn Fine Band was on the bill.
Oh yeah.
Was it the trash?
Downfalls.
Yes, it was that. It was that. I was supposed to go to that and I couldn't. So that's
that's been a good one.
I know. That was around the time I found it.
Great. That was a good time. They were great, and it was very nice of them to ask us to play.
Yeah. No, yeah, that was a stacked bill. As far as, see, I'm a homer. I like New England music more than anything else. And like when big bands come to town, I really don't go. I don't go and check them out. I just kind of like, I'm like, nah, I'm going to go to the Hotel Vernon in Worcester instead, You go to the Palladium, or I'm going to go to the Vernon. You know, that's kind of how I gravitate. But like, I think there's something special here, and you all have been here, like you've all been in this for a long time. Like, I don't know, like, and I talked to bands from all over the country. I've talked to, you know, I've talked to musicians from South Korea. Like, it's like what we have here. Like, I almost feel bad when I talk to other bands from other places, because like a lot of them don't have what New England has, like especially like in the Boston area and stuff like that. And you know, and I know like venues close a lot and everything, but like there's this sense of like community, and I think only people from New England can kind of grab hold of it. You know what I mean? Because like we're a little rough around the edges up here. You know?
Yeah. We also, though, we have a big benefit of short distances between locations. So for every band we've been in, it's like if you're from like Arizona, like you have to drive, play one time, it's like 7 hours to the next one. So it's like we get to it's quicker for us to get. We're in Arlington, right, just outside of Cambridge. Faster for us to get to Providence is to get to Jamaica Plain. But we're all talking like you can go to 6 or 7 different places within an hour, which if you're on the West Coast, that's impossible.
Tell me about the album a little bit. Let's talk about Spitting Silk for Parasites. Kind of like, so these were songs you guys started writing, you said around that time frame, but things got polished and stuff like that. Like what? Yeah, just tell me a little bit about the process that you guys like writing in the room, or you were like as you guys were just like working on something and then someone else adding a touch to it and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, EP, which we put out in 2023. We recorded this in December 2022. We recorded 10 songs for that EP, and then we're just like, I don't think the other 6 were good, and we're always writing songs. Like we're already recording another record this month. We're always writing songs, and so it's just like we just put out what we think are the best ones of them, I guess, right? And for some reason, we wanted the Shallow Eyes song to be on this record. It made sense with the other ones. So we just like added a couple extra tracks to the EP version of it, but it's basically the same route. And then just felt like we wanted a collection. You know, we even had a couple songs that we didn't put on this one that I don't know what we're going to do with. But I feel like we just wanted a collection of songs that kind of worked for our first record, you know? So we probably did it over 3 different sessions of like 4 to 6 songs each.
Yeah, but
and kept going back and like figuring out like, okay, when is it going to be? When do we feel like we have the 10 that go together? You know? But I don't know what else to say about that.
No, but as far as the writing bit, it's like Victoria pretty much does the words, but we might like say or she runs them by us, but like she's pretty much, that's her thing in general in this band, and then the music is a combo. But things evolve and they change, and she'll often come with something very simple, and then we mess with it, and then she messes with what we do, and it's a conversation kind of, is what I would say. And then when they get to a point, we're like, oh, okay, that's together. So
I like them all to have a hook of some kind.
When I think about just the sound that you guys have, and like I said, like there's no one that really sounds like, I mean, I feel like you can fit any bill really, because you're going to get, like, you complement a bunch of different styles or whatever, you know what I mean? Have you guys played with anybody like that, you know, that sound?
Probably closest is March Violets, I think. Yeah, I wish we sound like them. In my dreams, we sound like them. It was September this year.
They have a drum machine, so it's a little different.
Yeah.
But there's
all these bands that I think we sound like, but then everyone's like, no, actually, that's just you dreaming. But March Violets would be one of them that I would hope to sound like.
Yeah, it might be partially like, I think all of us have common bands that we really like, but we're also all like very different things too. Like everyone's a little bit off in their own world a little bit, so it's not but I mean, there's commonality. There's like, we mostly like the same stuff, but but some people like listen to one type of music more than others. But so maybe that's why it's not. Maybe you're hearing an argument. I don't know. Like everyone trying to pull. Like I'm trying to pull this way.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, everyone's pulling like little different things at the same time, and yeah. We'll say the show in September you just had. I'm sorry, what was the name of the band that you played with? Now, was that something that you guys booked, or were they coming here and then someone said, "Oh, you guys would go good with them," or like kind of what's the
I basically begged every week for 5 months straight to get on that bill, and then 2 weeks before they're like, "Fine, you can play." But yeah, so that worked out.
Strategy.
They're like one of the original goth bands from Leeds from the early 80s. They're like contemporaries with the Sisters of Mercy. They have a drum machine and a really cool woman singer. Like great kind of dance, post-punk songs. And it was, I think, our best show for sure. You know? And they're really cool people. Like it literally was a dream come true to play with them. But like that would be a band that I would love for people to compare us to.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's awesome. Do you guys have any plans on doing any kind of like short runs or anything anywhere outside of the area? Have you played outside of the area yet?
Well,
we played New England only.
We played
Providence.
Yeah.
Providence, Worcester.
We keep meaning to go to Portland.
We almost played New York. I mean, from having been in previous bands and also not being the youngest person in the room here.
Yeah.
It's having been in previous bands, it's like I feel like you want to build up a little bit of something that people want you before you just like go down and like when I was younger, not any of the bands we mentioned, but I like I played at CBGB's. It was great. 2 a.m. to nobody. It's like I don't really for no money. Like I feel like you need to kind of build something a little bit. Before,
yeah, for sure. Yeah. And
like I don't know, trade like we're getting to know some bands from elsewhere and trade shows and stuff like that. But we're not teenagers.
But we would go. You know. It just hasn't happened yet.
I kind of want to talk about that for a second. Like you've done the touring thing in other bands and this and that. There's a different approach at this age, right? Like I'm in my 40s. Like I have a different approach to everything I do now, unfortunately. But so even getting out of bed sometimes is a different approach than just jumping up and trying to go. So like, is there like, do you see? I don't know. Follow me on this journey, okay? When you're a kid and you do psychedelic drugs, okay, you don't give a shit about anything. So like you just take the psychedelics and you have a good time. When you're an adult and you want to dip into psychedelics, you have to make sure the house is clean, the bills are paid, you have the right lighting. You get what I'm saying? So like so from being in bands from when you were young to as you get older and there's got to be a different outlook, right? Like what's the biggest thing that you've noticed about the transition from one to the other?
I get a peel off on.
True. That is true.
Like I don't feel like driving home from New York City and working the next day, you know?
Yeah.
Which I used to do often. But I kind of think I'm just focused. Like I like playing live, but it's also very stressful. But I think that I'm really just into writing the songs and letting the songs kind of come to life and see what happens from there. Like that's honestly for me the funnest part. Like I don't care if we ever don't even leave the basement sometimes. I'm just like I'm happy down here and I'm happy with the songs. I love doing that. And then but then like we started releasing things and then people started offering us shows and then we're like, okay, so we got to play these shows. But
what are you gonna say?
Okay. Yeah, but I just think that
what's
I'm
like
a little more
old?
focused on the songs and the recording and less on the touring.
Yeah.
Right now.
Sure.
But I would go on tour, but I wouldn't. Like I said, it's just not as much the focus for me right now.
It's hard to arrange for one thing. It's more stuff.
I mean, let's be honest. When you tour and you're in your 20s, like it's the best times of your life, right? But like it's like different.
There's also, I'm just like, the economics of rock and roll are like so radically different than they used to be. Like, we always say, when I won't name the club, but like we used to play a certain club in town, and like me and Mark played there in high school. You got all the food you wanted to eat. We might have gotten beer too, but that's probably was illegal at the time. But then when me and Victoria played there, we'd still get food. We get free beer all night, right? And then a few years later, then you get food, 2 drink tickets. And then it moved to like no food, 2 drink tickets. Now it moves to like you get maybe $2 off a beer. And so now it's like almost it's where the economics are just working towards like eventually like we're gonna be essentially you're paying
to play. Yeah.
But like, and then if I talk to guys older than me, it's like they used to just make insane money. Like, so the economics of like rock and roll are just not really in our favor. But we have jobs, so like whatever.
Right. I was talking to someone the other day about like wanting to record, like, because like a lot of all the young bands they'd rather play live than record, and then I know people who would rather record than play live, and like it was brought to me as like it's the business model of the 50s that you have to get out there and tour, and that's the only way you're going to do this thing, and it never changed. And like if you've gone out and done it already, then like you don't have to subject yourself to that, right? And you'll tour when you want to, and I think that's the best part of it, right? That's like what to one, the arts are not appreciated in this country very much at all. So like it's like to make a living doing it, like it's like a lot of people got to really, you have to be, you got to know the right people to make a good living doing this, right?
It's also, we used to sell like in Showcase Showdown, we sold a lot of crap to people. Like people bought a lot of stuff. People, and I get it. It's like you don't need to buy anything. You can listen to it on YouTube or whatever, but you could. It's harder to get people to buy things.
But I want to go play Poland very much. And if something like that were to happen, we'd be right on that plane,
Oh, hell, well, yeah, and that comes back to like you're touring, like you'll do it when you want to, right? Like there's no need to do something, especially like like you said, like you have jobs, right? You can't just like.
I've lost my pop star looks.
You still got them, my friend. You still got them. But yeah, it's just one of those things. I think people like understanding that. I don't know. Like I feel like people need to understand that a little bit more too. Like, you know what I mean? Like you don't have to. I mean, if you feel the need to, that's fine. If that's how you want to do it. But like everything's changed. Like just how we consume music has changed. Like the structure of like people want like singles and like not wanting like an album. Like
what I would like is for you to tell us what to do. What do you think we should do?
No, I'm not gonna I don't know what to do. If I did, I wouldn't be doing this.
No, but on the other side of it, I think it's like we can be the grumpy old people, but it's like it's still pretty awesome that anyone gives a shit, right? So like there's a lot of people that are super supportive. Like we played in Providence last week with some metal bands who are not like who you would naturally put us.
They're from Worcester, actually. You might know them.
Who was it? Demon Chrome and Mistress and
the Watcher.
And the Watcher. And they're not like us sonically, right? They're not sonically. We're hitting it from different angles, but they were such awesome people, like really awesome people, and I really had like tremendous respect for them. Probably when I was 14, I wouldn't have, right? Because I'd be, no, they're playing Kramer guitars or whatever, like that stupid stuff. But they're out there, they're doing their thing, they're really good, they're talented, and like I like. Sort of somewhat similar to what you said to us at the beginning. They seem like people that are in their own little world. They're creating their own little world, and like it's really exciting to see.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. I think that's a great thing. And were they like I don't, because like it's funny because I don't really know the metal scene in Worcester. I don't know many bands in Worcester outside of like
I think they called themselves like more like doom metal or something.
Well, there's one doom band,
Misters.
but yeah, they're not from the scene we're from. But I was like, oh, that is awesome that they're doing that. Like that's like man, I didn't know about that. This is awesome. Like that's a rock I haven't turned over for a while, you know?
Yeah, I like that. Like, and that's kind of, I guess that's kind of how when I discovered you guys, how I felt. Like I was like, "Whoa, this is something different. This is something I enjoy. Why don't I listen to more like this?" But I don't really know anything else. That's like, and again, maybe I'm just like missing out because I've never really dove in until I heard you guys. You know what I'm saying? But like, it's just something that like, there's just something special about when you hear something like that, and like it's just a little bit different, and you see the people that are having fun doing it, right? It's just like, it's not like I don't know, like, so when I was growing up, I was probably more into like the heavy metal, and I listened to everything though. I always did, like, but I was never like a Green Day guy, you know, like I just wasn't. I just wasn't my thing.
Right.
But like, you know, I remember coming out to Boston when I was like probably 19 or 20 and like maybe 21. I don't think I was 21 yet, but like seeing the Ducky Boys play for the first time, and I was like, oh wow, like it was like just something that clicked, and it's local, you know. It's like just hearing things locally that click with you, I guess it's like a badge of honor when you get to when you get to share that with somebody who hasn't heard it yet, you know.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
You know, so it's just something I've always kind of like been with. And again, I'm a total homer for New England. Like, oh, this is like some folk Americana. Sure, it's from New England. I'll listen to it. You know, put it on. Let's go. You know, that's
how I feel about the north of England.
Yeah.
Anything from there, north of England, which is actually where I am from. Like, that's my roots.
Yeah.
And,
so when you hear it, it's like something. It's a little bit different for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Feels like home, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I remember I was in Tennessee and like I had like satellite radio and they played some Boston bands and I just went like, I was like, turn it up a little bit louder, you know. Put the windows down. You hear that, people? You know. So you guys released this. You released the album on vinyl, and it's digital. Is there any other formats, any kind of physical media for it, CDs or anything like that?
It's a split release from Polish label. That's why I'm saying I want to go to Poland. Polish label and a Boston label. The Polish label did the I guess they both did we all kind of digital. We all did a digital release. Whoever wants to buy it from any of us can. But the Polish label is called Batcave Productions, and there's so many good releases on that. You should check it out. And we approached them because I like all the stuff on there, and he just like wrote back immediately. He was one of the first people who wrote back and said, "Let's put this out," which is very cool. But he mostly doesn't do LPs. He just does digital and CDs. But it got us sort of an audience over in Europe that I think is very cool.
Wow. Okay.
And then we were just kind of trying to find someone who would want to do the vinyl. And we had known Roji, who does No Norms Records.
Because we kind of like
we met him at some shows, and I said, like, look, we have someone who wants to do the CD in Europe, but we want to do an LP. And the guy in Europe was like, it's fine if you want to do your own LP or something. I just don't have the budget for LPs, because he wants to put out. I mean, he has hundreds of releases on his label.
It's very DIY oriented.
So he puts out like a release a month at least. And he just wants volume and wants to get music out there. And then I think if you're doing vinyl, it's really cost prohibitive, you know? So anyway.
But I also feel like until something's on vinyl, I don't really think it's real.
We've always liked vinyl. So No Norms, which is Roji, said he'd be happy to do the vinyl. So it's kind of works as a win-win for us. You know, we have a Boston label, we have a Polish label, we have a CD, we have an LP. the music's getting out to different groups, you know, because he's got, I would say, more like a dark post-punk goth label in Europe. And this guy here is a little bit more punk, straight up punk. But I think we really fall in the middle of that.
Yeah, but he's got like, he does some international stuff that's cool. That's like a little bit off the beaten path.
Yeah, I saw a band out of, oh man, I think they're out of Albany, New York, that was on that label. That I saw like one of their, I think it was a 7-inch or something, and I was like, oh, they're on this, you know, like when I went to go pre-order the record. So,
For No Norm.
yeah, from No Norm.
Yeah, I'm impressed with him. It's like a labor of love for him. Like, I know the economics of it, and it's like he's a good guy, and he's
But
like,
this is like his 9th thing on No Norms.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And then we're like the 100th something.
Oh, and the
185 or something on Batcave. I don't know. I actually don't know the number, but like he's just releasing so much stuff. But I would say check out both those labels because they're really doing good things.
So how does it work? So over there, you said, he was going to do it. He just did it digitally at first, but then it got some movement or something, or?
Oh no, he said he would do a CD right away.
Oh, okay.
He likes to do CDs. He has like
I think CDs actually sell in Europe, which is
I think in Europe it's different, but he has like a CD of the month club where like people just sign up and pay a price, and then he sends a different CD every month to kind of expose people to new music, and he does some cool stuff like that. So right away he said, you know, I'm going to release it on CD and digital, but mostly what I liked is the word release. It's like, you know, like it's just going to come out, and it wasn't going to take a long time. He's just like a couple months after we sent it to him, it's out. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's awesome. That's great.
Some of the other labels were like, we're booked. We've already got a whole release scheduled for this year, and we just don't want to wait. We just like, if we have something ready, we just want it to come out.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's every artist, right? When it's done, they're like, we need to get it out there. And then labels are like, well, we can't release that at the moment because of this and this. And yeah. I know so many people that get like so like they're just like, oh, you know, but it's well worth it in the end, I think, especially if the label has a good plan for you. You know what I mean? But
the energy in a band, like it's not forever, right? You know, you gotta kind of like, while you're into it, do it, because who knows the future, who knows what's going to happen. Right. So like,
you said you're already working on another album, right?
Yeah. We recorded it. We started recording it last weekend.
Oh, that's good. That's great. That's good to hear. Do you have any kind of projection on where you're going with it and when you're going to be releasing it, or?
No,
but I was talking to Tom about it in the car today. I was like, I have a whole plan. No one else knows it yet.
That's awesome.
Tom's listening to me, but yeah, in my head, I know what's happening.
Right.
but we're like, yeah, we recorded
7 songs last weekend. Need to probably record like 5 to 7 more, and then we'll figure it out. And hopefully that'll happen in early 2025. My goal is like within a year from the first. This one came out on Halloween, essentially. Like I kind of feel like it shouldn't be more than a year till the next one comes out. And like even when we sent this one around over the summer in July, it still takes like till October to come out, and that's really good.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So I feel like we got to finish something up in the next few months.
Because when you look at like old bands, like bands that like are my heroes, it's like it's insane how quickly they've produced crap. You know, like
it didn't work.
Maybe, but like the Jam put out like their first 2 records are in the same year. Husker Du is like, it's like they're putting out bands just like, I know it's not the same situation at all, but like bands put out stuff very quickly back in the day, you know, like not even my day, but in ancient history.
Yeah. Well, not like I said. Nowadays, it's like a lot of everyone. They do a lot of it's not the bands are doing singles more because that's what listeners want, right? Like, so there was this.
I was saying to you before, I was like, "Tell us what to do."
Yeah.
What are people doing? Because we have no idea.
So, all right, I could bore you with that. I have someone that gave me like their breakdown on how they did, and it worked fairly well for a band from Maine that no one's like, you know, that's not like all over the, you know what I mean? So I can give you that info too, for sure. But like, yeah, so like there was this hip hop artist and like he had like 4 singles. I'm like, this guy's pretty good. Like, why doesn't he put out an album? And then like it was like he put out a single for the rest of that year every month, and then he dropped like an album that had like 2 extra songs. I'm like, oh, that's what people are doing. That seems to be like what they're doing. I don't know if it for me. I'm old, right? And I'm a storyteller. So like I need to listen to a whole album because I have to understand what's going on. Yeah. And sometimes I make that up, right? You take an album that's just like a bunch of like just a collection of things, and I'll still get something. I'll still get a goddamn overarching story out of it, I swear.
I want to hear your stories.
I really like that approach.
No, but I actually can identify with that a lot. like, but from the other side, like I feel like we're trying to do that, but not everyone thinks of it that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there are people out there, and there are out there. You know, it's just unfortunately like the general population. You know, the Gen Pop just want to hear. I guess there's like a station on satellite radio that plays just like the hooks from songs for TikTok or something like that.
Oh man!
So there's like a whole generation of people coming up that only want to hear like the hook, and that's it. And I just
those are those jerks that like get a cupcake and lick the top off it and put it back.
They stick their finger in the middle of it, right?
I would like an ice cream with just hot fudge and whipped cream and nothing else. Yeah. Come on.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, but I will say, from the people I interact with and everything, like there is still that want and need for the full album, and you know, we just won't get the what are they called? The Zennials? Are we at Zennials now? What are we at? What's the new generation called?
I don't even know what generation we are. The other day I was confused by that.
Me too, actually.
I forgot already.
I've been told 2 different things. I don't know what the hell I am. I'm miserable. That's what I am, you know? So, all right. So this is going to drop in January. Is there any upcoming show? Do you have anything? I know it's the end of year, so it's kind of tough for that, but do you have any shows lined up for next year at all? You want to drop right now?
Future.
Okay. Yeah. We could do
that.
We have a show this month, but it's not going to be, going to be too late. There's a show I'm trying to get on, but it's like total pipe dream. It's probably not going to happen.
We're playing in Salem.
But that's going to be already
after
done.
This is already done with the Scrooges. You know the Scrooges.
No, but that's what he's saying is like it's
I know.
not
I'm just saying it, but like we're playing with the Scrooges are like the Stooges cover band that plays like Santa. But we don't have anything officially booked in January or like February.
No, I feel like we're trying to actually record a little. We were offered a few shows in January, and for various reasons, it didn't work out. It wasn't like we're trying to say no to them, but I kind of want to just focus on writing a little bit in the winter, and the fall we played so much. It was actually we played all like 3-4 times a month for the fall, and I always think the really good bands play a lot in the fall, so I feel like that felt right to me. But then now I feel like we kind of need to recess a little bit and work on writing, and then probably in the spring we'll play a lot. And I really want to plan like a good show for our kind of quote unquote record release, but we haven't done it yet. We just haven't booked it. So I've been kind of waiting and kind of contemplating all the other shows that we get offered so as not to like interfere with if we do a record release. We do a show next September, by the way.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You got one in next September already?
25. I was like, are you kidding me? So we did say yes.
That's awesome. What is it? Who is it?
So Roji's bringing a bunch of bands from Europe over, the No Norms guy, and he's doing a festival weekend at the Middle East on the 4th and 5th of September. I haven't heard the bands. I'd have to look it up on my phone, but he's very, very excited about it and wants us to play with them.
Yeah, and most of the international bands he brings in are like
they're really good.
Like you're like, whoa, I didn't know they were doing this stuff in Belarus, right? It's like you're like it's impressive. So Boston's great. Boston's great, but there's these like weird pockets around the world where it's like amazing, like weird music is happening.
Oh, everyone I know that goes to Europe, like they're just like, it's so much, like it's more, the arts are more accepted there. It's, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
So I can see that. I can see why that's going to be, you know. And then I always think about when bands come over here and they play, like, are they like, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think they really
I think
are.
so many bands that are really big in Europe come over here and are just sort of like, whoa, it's like it's so tiny.
Yeah. I know bands that like they just constantly they'll go to Europe 3 times a year. Like they're like, this is how we're gonna make it. Like this is how we're gonna make our money. So, you know.
Yeah.
So, but all right. Well, that's cool. Listen. If there's another release next year, let's do this. Maybe I have enough equipment. I can just come to you. We can set it up in the basement. How about that?
That would be better.
It's also if you see us playing out live, like anywhere, just like let us know.
Yeah, I need to. You guys are definitely on my list. Like I said, your album is in my top 5, and I don't want to total fanboying out, but yeah, you guys are definitely. Your album is amazing. It's a record that once I start it, I will not stop it until it's done. And when we get off, I'm probably going to listen to
like diarrhea, pretty much.
Oh boy. Please come back, sir. I guess that's what I'm getting at. Please come back again when it's time, or if you ever have something big you guys want to talk about, just let me know and we'll get you back on here. It was so thank you again for hopping on.
Right.
Cheers. Thanks.
All right, and that's the show. I want to thank Gossip Color again for being today's guest on the Struggling Artist Podcast. In the show notes, you will find all links to Gossip Color. Thank you to Chris Chavez and Jeff Bousquet for being producers of the podcast. Follow them on Instagram. You can follow Chris at 716 The Sound and Jeff at JRB Image. Thank you to Mark over at State Line Records for sponsoring the podcast. And thank you to the band Losers Circle for always allowing us to use their song, The Great Illusion of Time, off of their album Took Long Enough as the theme song to The Struggling Artist. Thank you everyone over at Patreon supporting us. Go check out what we have going on over there. It's a lot of good stuff. Head to patreon.com/podcast TSA. Check out the tiers. They're inexpensive. And you know, we do a lot over there. We do multiple podcasts between Chris and myself. We have guests come on and do podcasts. It's a lot of fun. Struggling Artist Radio is a big deal. If you're into listening to, like, you know, the radio, it's our fake radio show. A lot of good music we play over there. So check it out. Podcast TSA, only on Patreon. Thank you to everyone who listens to the show, shares, and, reacts. Yeah, sure, you can react to the show or interact. That is even better. If you want to interact with us, Trev at thestrugglingartistpodcast.com, or you could shoot us a voicemail or a text to 774-570-1552. Again, you can leave a voicemail or text us at 774-570-1552. All right, it's time to get out of here. We have a song to play. This song is off of Gossip Collar's album, Spinning Silk for Parasites. The song is called Breakfast for the Baby. Until next week, take care of yourselves. We'll talk to you then.